Okay, now you've done your ribbon work and you are in love with it, however you choose to do it. You are now going to do your beading. So there are two types of beading I did in this bodice section. I did typical cross stitch beading, and then I did messy beading for the big section of the brooch. Now cross stitch beading is similar to stitching or cross stitch. So you're going to go up, actually attach your bead, go through the next hole, and then come back and go through the bead to really secure it. So I typically use some kind of beading catcher. It's really up to you. I didn't start doing an actual like beading case until I did more and more beads. But so you're going to do a little section of the red beads. Y'all are getting tiny bags of beads, but if you're tubes of beads, I always just pull them into the cap and then kind of drop a few. Clearly I have a plethora of fun beads that never made it back into their tubes, but you know, it is, and I have old beading things hanging off. But okay, so for the little tiny section, I believe it's up here in yours, that is red beads, you're just going to take your beading needle, same double threaded is my preferred, and you're going to just come up like you would just do a 10 stitch. Sorry y'all, I'm off camera. If you don't have a beading case, which I didn't for the first little section I was beading, just put it on something that you can easily pick up off of, like sometimes like a tray or a plate is helpful to unleash your beads. I'm gonna pick up a bead. And you're going to just essentially do a 10 stitch. So it will go through and you've got one bead on. Sorry y'all, it is zooming weirdly. Okay, and then to make the other section of the cross stitch, you just kind of finish off your cross stitch. So you go down, go back through your bead, and sometimes it's helpful to kind of go in a crazy direction to get it on, to get through the hole. Sorry, it's trying to get through the ribbons, which we don't want it to do. Okay. And sometimes you need to kind of pull it off the canvas to help. And then in the diagonal hole. And this will secure your bead and it will feel very stable, which is why I prefer cross stitching beads. Even if it's just a one-off or even in a line, I tend to cross stitch bead. I just like the security of it. And I also grew up cross stitching, and so it's just a very natural action to me. And if you're doing larger pieces and larger beads, you can also go through the cross stitch multiple times to make yourself be like me and make yourself feel like it's really secured. But that is just my preferred style of beading. So when I write guides, I say to cross stitch bead. If you prefer brick beading or 10 stitch beading, go for it. I just prefer cross stitch. So, and you're going to do those little sections over there. Now for your messy beading, this is similar to ribbon work where you have to kind of trust the process. And I can show you my 5 golden rings canvas has some messy beading. So it seems crazy when you're doing it, but the impact of messy beading is fantastic. So you are going to come up at the corner of this section of the brooch, and this is when having a little tray for your beads is really helpful, because you're going to unleash a handful of beads at a time. So I'm going to take my little cup of beads, make a little green pile over here. This is not the same green color, I'm now realizing, but that's okay, as y'all, but we will work with it. So you're going to take your needle now that you're up, and instead of just putting one bead on, you're going to do a handful. So it could be 3, it could be 5, it could be whatever you choose to do, kind of based on that area. If this is the corner, you might want to start with like 3 or 4. I just did 4. You can see they're kind of all there. And similar to a satin stitch, you're just going to satin stitch across. So those beads will lay down in that fashion. And you don't have to do like a cross stitch where you're not beading every individual one, you're doing a row of them all together. And so like this is a bigger section, so I might do like 5 or 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sounds good because my last row was 4. This is a bigger section, and you're just kind of going across, and it's going to go like that, and you're just going to stitch through those beads, and that will finish off the rest of your brooch. And to end your beading, I tend to run it over a lot of stitches, and I also knot it because I just worry about beads popping off. This is when I sometimes bend my beading needle, and that is a-okay, and that's why needles are part of the most inexpensive part of your project. So you're just gonna kind of run through a lot, and there'll be a large clear section on the back with your brooch, so just be prepared for that when you're doing your brooch. Because of how you're beading, it'll look like you didn't do anything on the back, and that's totally normal. You might want to knot it at this point. I'm not going to because I'm so out of thread right now, but I hope that's helpful. I'll be on the Zoom later tonight to help with questions, but yes, go ahead, DM me. I'm happy to chat and kind of walk you through these sections. I'll talk to you later. Bye.